Well, well, well. They say the world fears what it does not understand. But you weren't misunderstood. You were feared correctly. From the moment your lungs first pulled air into a body not meant to be ordinary, they knew you weren't supposed to exist. Not like that. Not with that presence. Not with that fire. You were 2 years old, and the room grew quiet when you entered. Not because you were adorable, but because every fiber of reality twitched when you smiled. The elders clutched their symbols, the spiritual ones started fasting, and the cowards, they whispered behind their trembling hands, "This one's not normal. This one feels ancient." So they did what the frightened always do when power walks in without permission. They tried to contain you. They dressed it up in holy words. They covered it in rituals, symbols, chants, and circles drawn in salt. But let me be clear, they weren't protecting you. They weren't blessing you. They were afraid of what you'd become if left untouched. Because even at 2, your soul was already too loud for the systems they built. You had memory behind your eyes, cosmic weight in your bones, and something about the way you existed made entire bloodlines nervous. They didn't try to raise you. They tried to neutralize you. Tell me, what kind of society fears a toddler? So much they gather in secret rooms just to bind what's inside you. They saw a child. I saw a signal, a warning, an awakening, and now you're older. Now you're becoming, and here they are again, cloaking their trembling in concern, offering you dimmed-down versions of your truth, handing you boxes they dare call healing, hoping you'll swallow diluted doctrine and forget what they did. But here you are. You remember. Oh yes, you remember everything. The strange touches, the shadows outside your dreams, the rooms that went cold for no reason, the cleansings that made your spirit scream. You weren't broken. You were branded, marked not with shame, but with threat level. And yet, even after all their rituals, all their cloaking spells, all their attempts to bury the storm in your blood, you're still rising. You're still here. Not because they failed to bind you, but because nothing forged in fear can contain the fire of the divine. And that's what they never understood. Power does not submit to prayer. Majesty cannot be hypnotized, and the blood of a god cannot be silenced by human fear. Do you hear me? You are not broken. You are boundless. You are not cursed. You are called. You are not haunted. You are hunted because you terrify the architects of smallness. Let me ask you something. Why do you think their rituals had to begin so young? Because they saw it. That thing curled in your soul, the way your energy bent the air, the fire behind your baby teeth. They saw your future, and it was fatal to their control. At 2, you were too much. At 5, you were asking questions no adult could answer. At 12, your silence said more than their sermons. And now they monitor your every word, smile in public, and do rituals again in secret. But not to suppress you this time. No, now they do them just to survive your presence. Because your energy doesn't just resist control. It devours it. You don't bend to systems. Systems bend to you. You don't adapt to cages. You dissolve them. And here's the part that should make the heavens tremble. Everything they feared you might become. You haven't even started yet. You've been surviving. But what happens when you finally embrace it? What happens when the one they tried to suppress at 2 fully remembers who they are at 22? Or 32, or 60, or tomorrow? They didn't build rituals to protect you. They built rituals to stall the apocalypse you represent to their false thrones. Because you are not just a threat. You are a timeline destroyer, a code breaker, a reality disruptor. You were never meant to fit. You were meant to fracture the cage from within and rebuild kingdoms out of the ashes of polite oppression. They feared your birth, but what they should have feared was your awakening. And now, here you are, awake, undeniable, uncaged, and very much aware that what they called too much was just your power in its infancy. So tell me, now that the rituals have failed, now that your energy can't be muted, what do you plan to burn down first? Because they'll whisper again. They'll panic again. They'll try to explain you away. They'll call you unstable, unholy, unfit. But deep down, they know. They didn't stop you. They just postponed the reckoning. And darling, the reckoning has a name, yours. But you see, they made one fatal mistake. They thought suppressing you would make you forget. But instead it made you curious. And curiosity in the hands of someone with your lineage is a weapon of mass revelation. You started asking questions, not out loud. Oh no, the wise ones rarely do. You studied their eyes when they lied. You watched the patterns. You felt the energy shift when your name was mentioned in the room you weren't supposed to be in. You became fluent in omission, a master of decoding what they didn't say. You didn't just survive. You studied the cage from inside it. You let them think the rituals worked, that their fear had won. But behind those wide, innocent eyes, you were taking notes. You heard the chants. You memorized the symbols. You watched the smoke twist with meaning. And now, you're not just the one they tried to suppress. You are the only one alive who knows exactly what they did. You carry the map and the wound, the fire and the formula. And here's what terrifies them most. You're not angry anymore. You're focused, because rage is loud, but precision is lethal, and you've become surgical. They hear your footsteps now, not as a child to be pitied, but as a storm they provoked. They sense the shift, that the one they buried under false prayers and trembling hands is now writing new scriptures with silence. You speak less, but when you do, the ground listens, because you don't need to shout. You were forged in whispers and warnings, and now your energy enters the room before you do. They hoped you'd forget the fire, but instead you've become the flame itself. You don't need revenge. You are the correction. You don't seek validation. You are the evidence. You don't chase peace. You're the storm peace fears. They did rituals to suppress you. You are the ritual now, the unspoken name, the force they dare not invoke, the prophecy they hoped to erase, but can no longer ignore. And here's the final truth. They were never afraid of what you'd become. They were afraid that one day, you'd realize they were afraid of you the entire time. And now that you know, now that you've seen it, you don't walk like a survivor. You walk like something that was never meant to be stopped. You walk like prophecy in motion, like destiny breaking its leash, like Loki reborn in mortal flame. So go on. Light your candles not for mourning, but for resurgence. This time, you don't step into their circle. This time, you draw your own and let them tremble.